Hey, ninth grade. We are going to review the analyzing the text questions. But before we begin, we have a special public service announcement from the second grader who is home learning this week.
Make sure to wear your mask and be safe.
Thank you, second grader. Go about your work now. Okay, so we are looking at the analyzing the text questions. And question number one, what is the meaning of Mercutio's repeated curse, a plague of both your houses? Where he says that in scene 1, lines 85 and 93. What might this curse foreshadow? So he's actually saying a plague on the house of Capulet and the house of Montague, because those families have led to his death. That rivalry that those families have towards each other, that hate that those families have towards each other, has led to his death. His remarks foreshadows the grief that is about to come to Romeo and Juliet as they are working through their love and as we are looking at this tragic play. Question number two, what is Romeo's motivation for killing Tybalt? Is his action justified or a mistake? Explain your response. So, number two, you can argue either way. It's just how are you going to find text evidence for that? So you can say that Romeo is motivated by rage when Tybalt kills Mercutio. Romeo is in Romeo rage. You cannot deal with him. You cannot console him in any way. And so you would say that his action is justified because he is just retaliating against Tybalt for the death of his best friend. Or you could say that no, Romeo needs to pick a coping strategy and calm down and not let his emotions take over him. So you can argue that either way, find text evidence. However, we do know that the overwhelming evidence that Shakespeare has provided us in this play is that Romeo is volatile, irrational, and moody. And we saw that all the way back in Act 1. Okay? You can argue it either way, though. Just find the text evidence to back it up. Question number three. In what ways do Romeo and Juliet need the help of Friar Lawrence and the nurse in order to save their love and move forward? Support your response with evidence from the text. So they need Friar Lawrence and the nurse to help save their love because they've been helping all along. Now we see at the end of Act 3 that the nurse has betrayed Juliet. And this is a terrible betrayal that she is experiencing. For the first time in her life, she has been betrayed by her mom, her dad, and the nurse. And so, is the nurse that Juliet, is the nurse someone that Juliet can go to? Well, we don't know. We have to look and see what happens. But we want to support our response with evidence from the text. Romeo and Juliet definitely need the help of Friar Lawrence in this situation. And so Friar Lawrence says these wild acts denote the unreasonable fury of a beast in lines 110 to 111 as he is reminding Romeo of his irrational behavior because he's not seeing that the fact that he's banished is a good thing. He's not getting the death penalty. Number four, in scene 5, Lord Capulet becomes enraged when Juliet says she will not marry Paris. In what ways are his words and actions in this scene like those of Romeo and Juliet? What are the likely consequences of his actions? So he's thinking only of himself and not acting in an open-minded manner. The consequence is that he's driving his daughter away and also putting her life in danger by disowning her. And so you can see what Shakespeare has done in Act 3. You have Romeo and Juliet who are emotionally charged, and then you have Juliet's parents Lord Capulet and Lady Capulet that are emotionally charged. They have disowned their daughter because she refuses to get married to Paris. Question number 5. Explore how Shakespeare continues to use light and dark, day and night motif in scene 5, lines 1 through 35. Why does Juliet want the darkness to continue? So there's that whole conversation at the opening of scene 5 where Romeo and Juliet are together at the Capulet house, and they're discussing, well, is it the lark? Is it the nightingale? Because if the dark stays, then Romeo can stay. As soon as the first light arrives, Romeo must leave because he's been banished. And if he is discovered, well, he's going to be murdered. And so he was told, get out of town. We don't want to see you. And so, with the approaching light, Romeo must leave and leave Juliet. And this will be the last time that they will see each other. That's kind of tragic, isn't it? Yeah, that's why the play is called The Tragedy of Romeo and Juliet, and not the greatest love story ever told. No, it's the tragedy of Romeo and Juliet. Question number 6. Analyze how and why does Juliet's relationship with her nurse change? Do you believe Juliet is justified in her feelings toward the nurse? Explain. So the nurse, out of concern for Juliet's safety and well-being, says that she needs to forget Romeo and marry Paris. Or it could be if the nurse tells Juliet to pursue Romeo, the nurse is out of a job. Because if Juliet leaves, who does she have to care for anymore? So you can argue that either way. The relationship with the nurse has changed because Juliet feels she no longer can confide in her. She says that she has lost trust in her in lines 240 through 241 of the text. So those are your answers to the analyzing the text questions. Make sure you review them because on Monday we're going to have an assessment on Act 3. Be ready for it. Have a great weekend.